play against Breanna Stewart. She goes to the line 14 times. A'ja Wilson goes to the line 13 times. And Aaliyah Boston can't play 20 minutes in a game without being on the bench in foul trouble. That's another problem that we're dealing with. But like I said, this year, it's not just Caitlin Clark. If you wear that Indiana Fever jersey, consider it done. The refs are not going to be fair, and they are going to cheat and do whatever it takes to do what the higher-ups say.
They played against Breanna Stewart, and she went to the free throw line 14 times. A'ja Wilson, 13. But somehow, Aaliyah Boston couldn't even stay on the court for 20 minutes without racking up foul after foul and getting benched. If you're wearing an Indiana Fever jersey this season, it doesn't matter who you are, you're playing 5-on-8 every single night. But here's the twist everyone's ignoring. This isn't just about Caitlin Clark. It's not even just about bad calls or biased refs. What we're watching unfold is something far bigger and far more dangerous. Behind every whistle, behind every flagrant no call, there's a script being followed. A script written not by the players or even the coaches, but by someone at the very top. And once you realize that, everything starts to look different. Because this isn't just poor officiating, it's a power move. A full-blown strategic operation with one goal: control. Today, we're tearing down the official story and exposing what might be the WNBA's most explosive behind-the-scenes battle yet, a covert war for dominance, ahead of the biggest CBA showdown in league history. This isn't about basketball anymore. This is about manipulation, media control, silencing stars, and using chaos as leverage. You ready? Let's pull back the curtain. Let's start with the official version of the story, the one the league wants you to believe. On the 15th of July, during a hard-fought win against the Connecticut Sunday, Indiana Fever's breakout superstar Caitlin Clark suffered a right groin injury with under a minute left on the clock. 2 days later, the announcement dropped. Clark would not play in the WNBA All-Star Game, and just like that, chaos ignited across the league. Headlines screamed about fan boycotts, media clips showed furious fans returning tickets, and in just hours, the resale market for All-Star tickets completely imploded. Prices that were sitting at an average of $262 suddenly tanked. The get-in price collapsed from $121 all the way down to just $64. Overnight, what was supposed to be the league's crown jewel weekend turned into a financial freefall. But pause for a second, because this is where it starts to get suspicious. While everyone was obsessing over Clark's absence and pointing fingers at fans for dumping tickets, something bizarre happened. According to the WNBA's own official data, the 2025 All-Star Game was a full sellout. That's right, Gainbridge Fieldhouse recorded exactly 16,988 fans in attendance. Not almost. Not close. A perfect sellout. So ask yourself this. How does a game being branded a financial catastrophe still fill every single seat in the building? How do thousands of seats vanish from resale platforms and suddenly appear filled, live on television? This isn't just a red flag, it's the thread that unravels the entire official story. Someone, somewhere, made sure that arena looked packed, no matter what it cost. And the question is, why? Let's break this down. If ticket prices crashed and fans were bailing, but the arena still sold out, that means one thing: someone filled those seats. But it wasn't the original buyers. So who was it? Did the league hand out free tickets to local schools and camps just to avoid the embarrassment of empty rows on national television? Did corporate sponsors swoop in at the last minute, scooping up huge blocks for pennies on the dollar just to save face? Because one thing's crystal clear, those 16,988 people didn't just magically appear. That crowd was engineered. And once you see that, it becomes obvious. This wasn't about salvaging one game. It was about protecting an illusion. The WNBA needed to project success, even if it meant burying the financial disaster underneath a carefully curated photo op. It's not just spin its narrative control. Because when a league is on the edge of a historic labor war, every camera angle becomes a weapon. Every crowd shot becomes propaganda. They couldn't let the story be, Clark's gone, so the fans bailed. They needed to make it look like everything was fineno panic, no damage, no weakness. And when an organization starts manipulating optics this tightly, you have to ask, what else are they hiding? What else are they staging? This wasn't a last-minute scramble. This was a calculated move, a visual strategy to distract the public from a deeper, far more dangerous reality brewing behind the curtain. Because when the truth threatens the power structure, image becomes everything. To understand what's really going on, we have to look at the person pulling the strings from the very top, WNBA Commissioner Cathy Engelbert. While fans were melting down over Clark's injury and media outlets were obsessing over ticket prices, Engelbert wasn't scrambling to fix the mess. No, she was quiet, calculated, almost cold. This is the same commissioner who, when asked directly about the mounting outrage over officiating and player safety, shrugged it off with a tone-deaf response. "No one's ever happy with officiating," she said, as if Clark's injury and the league's biggest controversy in years were just another minor complaint. But this wasn't a careless mistake or a PR slip-up. This was a message, a power move. By reducing the players' anger to something generic, something every sport deals with, Engelbert wasn't just ignoring their concerns, she was dismissing them outright. She was saying, "We hear you, but we're still in charge." And that's the part the mainstream coverage has completely missed. This isn't about whether the calls were fair. This is about control. This is about a commissioner drawing a line in the sand, making it clear to the players that the league office, not the stars, calls the shots. Every word, every public statement is part of a bigger strategy. And that strategy isn't just about saving face seats, about winning the upcoming war over the new collective bargaining agreement. Because once you see this moment for what it truly is, Clark's injury starts to look less like an isolated event and more like the perfect spark for the league's next power play. And right when Engelbert was delivering her carefully crafted dismissal, the players were plotting something of their own. While the camera zoomed in on the injured star sitting courtside, the real moment of rebellion unfolded in plain sight during warm-ups. One by one, players took the floor wearing bold black and white shirts that said it loud and clear, "Pay us what you owe us." This wasn't subtle. This wasn't symbolic. This was a full-scale protest in the heart of the league's most televised event of the year. It was a direct shot at the commissioner, a public challenge to the very system that's been profiting off their silence. And what happened next? The fans, supposedly there just for Caitlin Clark, started chanting the same message. "Pay them, pay them!" This wasn't about one player anymore. This was a union rising up in unison, hijacking the spotlight and flipping the script on their bosses. What was supposed to be a celebration of the WNBA's success became a pressure cooker of unrest. And it wasn't just about officiating. That was just the tip of the spear. The protest was a statement of value, of ownership, of power. The players weren't asking, they were demanding. Demanding compensation, demanding respect, and most importantly, demanding control over their future. And that message didn't just echo through the arena, it sent a shockwave through the entire league. Because the players had just fired the first official shot in what's shaping up to be the most pivotal labor battle in WNBA history. This wasn't a random outburst. That protest was timed with precision because the players know something the average fan doesn't. They know the clock is ticking. They know the current collective bargaining agreement, the CBA, that governs everything from salaries to travel conditions to revenue sharing is set to expire on the 31st of October, 2025. That date isn't just a deadline, it's the battlefield. It's the moment where every grievance, every injustice, every ignored complaint becomes leverage. And this time, the players aren't walking into those negotiations quietly. They're already drawing battle lines in public. Because what's at stake isn't just a pay bump, it's the foundation of the league's future. The next CBA will decide how money flows, how stars are protected, how much say the players really have in the sport they built. We're talking about real power, percentage of league revenue, flight standards, health protocols, officiating rules. Every single thing that's caused tension this season becomes a bargaining chip. That's why this season's chaos suddenly feels so calculated. Because now, every press conference, every fine for speaking out, every ignored flagrant foul, it all looks like strategic posturing. The league is tightening its grip, trying to keep control of the narrative before the real fight begins. And the players? They're refusing to play nice. This isn't just a series of controversies. It's the opening act of a power war that's been brewing for years. And make no mistake, it's already begun. So now the question becomes, if the players have made their move, what's the commissioner's counterattack? That brings us to the heart of this entire breakdown, the commissioner's gambit. It's a bold theory, but the evidence lines up. Cathy Engelbert isn't ignoring the officiating crisis, she's weaponizing it. Think about it. By refusing to protect Caitlin Clark, the most marketable player in WNBA history, she lets the league look unstable. She lets the narrative take root that this entire multi-million-dollar momentum is fragile, hanging by a thread, and one injury away from collapsing. It's chaos, but it's controlled chaos. Because if the public starts believing the WNBA's success is a bubble, not a boom, Engelbert gains leverage. When the Players Association walks into the room demanding more money, better benefits, and structural reform, Engelbert can now argue that the league isn't as secure as they think. She can point to the All-Star fallout and say, "See, one groin tweak, and the whole machine almost stopped." That's not just spin, that's a tactical weapon. She's flipping the Caitlin Clark effect on its head, not as proof of player value, but as evidence of league fragility. It's ruthless, it's high risk, but in corporate negotiations, perception is power. And by letting the narrative of instability run wild, Engelbert is stacking the deck in her favor. She's not reacting to the crisis, she's using it. And that changes everything. And just when you think it can't go deeper, it does. Because now, we enter the shadows where whispers grow louder and rumors start shaping reality. Across social media, in creator circles, in comment sections too detailed to ignore, a new theory is starting to spread. Some fans and insiders are now alleging that there may be undisclosed financial ties between Commissioner Engelbert and certain referees. Let's be clear, there is no official proof, no concrete evidence, and we are not accusing anyone of anything illegal. But in the world of narrative analysis, the existence of this rumor matters. Why? Because it signals one thing: trust is broken. Completely. If fans and players even believe this kind of corruption is possible, it means the league's credibility is already in crisis. And if Engelbert is already being accused fairly or off manipulating officiating, then every questionable call becomes part of that larger story. Every missed foul, every technical, every ejection, it all feeds the theory that this isn't just bad refereeing, it's controlled chaos, strategic sabotage. And even if it's not true, even if this is all conspiracy smoke, it still burns the same, because the belief alone erodes the very foundation the league is built on: fairness, transparency, competition. And once that's gone, the commissioner isn't fighting just for a contract, she's fighting to save the league's soul. But this war isn't one-sided. While the commissioner plays corporate chess behind closed doors, the players are mounting a full-scale counteroffensive in broad daylight. And they're not doing it with lawyers, they're doing it with voice, vision, and visibility. Their first weapon? Media pressure. Coaches like Stephanie White have been relentless this season, calling out the double standards in officiating, exposing how Caitlin Clark is allowed to be manhandled on the court in ways no other player faces. She's not just venting, she's building a case. Statement by statement, clip by clip, they're documenting a pattern of abuse that can't be ignored. Second weapon, visual protest. Those "pay us what you owe us" shirts weren't merch, they were a message. A unified visual slap across the league's face, right in the middle of their biggest broadcast event. It wasn't just bold, it was bulletproof. You can't fine a t-shirt, you can't suspend a protest. And their third weapon might be the most powerful of all: the fans. The players aren't just speaking for themselves anymore, they're rallying public opinion. They're turning the crowd into a coalition. When Napheesa Collier, the All-Star Game MVP, was asked about the fan support behind the pay protest, she didn't dodge or deflect. She said, "To have the fans backing us, I think it means everything. That's not just gratitude, that's strategy. The players are reframing the fight as a battle between them and the cold corporate machine. They are painting themselves as the heroes and Engelbert as the villain. And guess what? It's working." So when you connect all the dots, it becomes undeniable the 2025 WNBA All-Star Weekend wasn't a celebration, it was a battleground. A carefully staged war zone where every headline, every injury, every shirt, every silence, and every chant was part of something much bigger than basketball. On one side, you've got the Commissioner's Gambita high-stakes, cold-blooded strategy to manufacture instability, control the narrative, and weaken player leverage ahead of the CBA showdown. On the other side, you've got a player uprising bold, organized, and unshakably public, using every camera, every fan, and every microphone to expose the power imbalance and demand a new future. This isn't just a negotiation, it's a full-scale ideological war. And the outcome won't just decide how much players get paid or how often they fly coach. It'll determine the identity of the WNBA for the next generation. Will it be a league that empowers its stars, or one that silences them when the lights get too bright? So now we turn to you, the audience, the analysts, the fans. Whose side are you on? Is Engelbert playing smart or playing dirty? Are the players out of line, or finally drawing one? Drop your take in the comments and join the discussion, because this war is far from over. And if you want the real story behind the headlines, the narrative that mainstream media refuses to tell, make sure you hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, and share this video with someone who needs to see what's really happening. The next move is coming, and we'll be right here, watching every step of the way,